We are creatures of wanting. From the moment consciousness awakens within us, we reach toward something beyond ourselves, a person, a possession, a state of being we believe will finally make us whole. Yet the closer we draw to what we pursue, the more it seems to slip between our fingers like sand. We achieve the goal, and in that moment of triumph, we discover we are still incomplete. The hunger remains. Perhaps it has only deepened. This is the paradox that has haunted human experience since time immemorial. We are promised that satisfaction waits just ahead, that one more thing, one more accomplishment, one more relationship will deliver us from the restlessness that dwells beneath our skin. Yet those who have tasted every pleasure, scaled every mountain, and claimed every prize know a secret truth: the chase itself is infinite. Satisfaction, when it arrives, is not the homecoming we imagined. It is often merely a mirror reflecting back our own emptiness. We mistake the mirror for the destination. We confuse the sensation of desire with the promise of fulfillment, and so we continue, driven forward by an invisible current, building monuments to achievement that eventually become tombs of forgotten dreams. The civilization we have constructed is built upon this fundamental contradiction. We are engines of wanting, trapped in a universe that cannot satisfy the wanting itself. The question is not whether we will ever be satisfied. The question is whether we understand what we are truly seeking, and why the seeking itself may be the only answer we ever receive. To understand the paradox, we must descend into the darkness where desires are born. They do not originate in our conscious minds, in the day-lit rationality where we believe we make our choices. Rather, they emerge from the depths, from the unconscious, that vast and unseen ocean upon which our consciousness floats like a small vessel. Carl Jung understood that we do not desire things as they truly are. We desire them as containers for our own unlived potentials, our unacknowledged yearnings, our abandoned selves. We project onto the world the fullness we have banished from within ourselves. We see in another person a completion we believe is external, when in truth, we are gazing at a fragment of ourselves reflected in the dark water of another's existence. The lover we pursue with such fervor is not really the object of our desire at all. Within the beloved, we glimpse an anima or animus, the feminine or masculine principle we have denied or suppressed within our own souls. We chase it in the outer world because we have not yet learned to recognize and embrace it within. The career we covet, the status we crave, the reputation we seek to build. These too are projections. We believe that if we can capture them, we will finally become the self we have always imagined ourselves to be. But what we are really chasing is a phantom reflection of our own unlived life. This unconscious projection is not a flaw in human nature. It is a feature of it. The psyche, in its wisdom, attempts through these desires to call us toward wholeness. But we misinterpret the call. We mistake the signpost for the destination. We run toward an image in the mirror, never understanding that the treasure we seek is already contained within our own being, waiting for us in the spaces we have never dared to explore. The satisfaction we pursue exists not in achievement, but in awareness, in the recognition of what has always been there. There is a part of ourselves we have all learned to forget. It contains the anger we were taught to smile through, the desires we were told were wrong, the truths we were forbidden to speak. It holds the ambitions we buried because they seemed too selfish, the vulnerabilities we hid because they seemed too weak. This is the shadow, the repository of all we have rejected, repressed, and refused to acknowledge as part of ourselves. Jung taught that what we do not consciously know, we will unconsciously seek. The shadow does not disappear when we deny it. It merely goes underground, and from that darkness, it reaches toward us in disguised forms. The addiction that rules our days, the relationship that consumes our thoughts, the goal that never satisfies, no matter how many times we achieve it. These are often the shadow calling to us in a language we do not recognize. When we encounter someone who deeply disturbs us, who triggers in us a disproportionate rage or desire, we are almost always meeting our own shadow. That person has become a container for everything we have exiled from our consciousness. We are compelled to pursue them or destroy them, to chase them or escape from them, because by doing so, we hope to resolve something unfinished within ourselves. Yet the more we direct this energy outward, the more elusive the resolution becomes. The deepest paradox is this: the satisfaction we pursue externally cannot be found because what we are truly seeking is internal. We are attempting to fill the void created by our rejection of ourselves. We are trying to complete ourselves through external means when the incompleteness itself is an illusion, born of the fragmentation we have created. Every craving, every hunger, every desperate reaching is a symptom of a single wound, the wound of disconnection from our own wholeness. As long as we deny the shadow, we deny ourselves. And as long as we deny ourselves, we will chase forever, mistaking hunger for purpose and desperation for desire. There is a turning point that comes to those who are exhausted enough to stop running. It arrives not as a revelation, but as a whisper, a quiet recognition that the path outward has led nowhere real. This is the moment when the psyche begins its true work, not the acquisition of more, but the integration of what has always been. Jung called this process individuation, the gradual becoming of oneself in totality. It is not the heroic journey of conquest and achievement that our culture celebrates. It is instead an inward spiral, a descent into the labyrinth of one's own being, with the intention not of escape, but of understanding. To individuate is to stop projecting your unlived life onto the external world and begin the difficult work of living it inwardly. This means acknowledging the shadow without shame or judgment, recognizing that every rejected part of ourselves contains not weakness, but wisdom. The anger we repressed contains vital life force. The desires we deemed selfish contain authentic needs. The ambitions we buried contain genuine talent and purpose. When we cease to run from these aspects of ourselves, when we turn to face them with curiosity rather than fear, something shifts. The energy that was poured into chase and avoidance becomes available for genuine creation and connection. Individuation requires a confrontation with our own opposites, the masculine and feminine within, the light and the dark, the known and the unknown. It means allowing these contradictions to coexist within us rather than forcing a false unity. It means recognizing that we contain multitudes, that wholeness is not the elimination of paradox, but the embrace of it. And in this embrace, something unexpected occurs. The desperate hunger begins to transform. The satisfaction we sought externally ceases to be the point. What emerges instead is a deeper orientation, not toward accumulation and achievement, but toward authenticity and presence. Imagine a moment of arrival that looks nothing like you expected. You do not obtain the thing you have chased. Rather, you stop running. You turn around and notice, perhaps for the first time with clear eyes, where you already are. This is not resignation or defeat. This is the only true homecoming available to human beings. The paradox resolves not through solving, but through transcending. We do not satisfy the craving by fulfilling it more efficiently. We satisfy it by understanding its true nature. The hunger was never really for external things. It was the cry of the unlived self, the voice of our own depths calling us inward, toward integration and wholeness. Every desire that has never found peace was actually an invitation to know ourselves more completely. This does not mean abandoning aspiration or ceasing to create. It means fundamentally transforming the relationship we have with striving. We create not to prove ourselves, but to express ourselves. We engage with the world not to fill an inner void, but from the fullness that emerges when we have stopped denying what we contain. The work we do becomes meaningful not because it brings us closer to some imagined future self, but because it arises from the authentic self we are finally beginning to recognize. There is a quiet satisfaction that comes not from achievement, but from presence. It comes when you sit with yourself without the constant demand that you become someone else, somewhere else, someone more. It comes when you recognize that the self, that larger, wiser consciousness within that Jung called the self, has been present all along, waiting for you to cease the chase and notice its presence. This is not the ecstatic satisfaction we imagined. It is subtler, steadier, more real. As you move through your days, notice where you are still running, still projecting, still believing that wholeness waits somewhere ahead. Notice the ways you flee from your own depths by constantly reaching for the external, and then, with gentle insistence, turn inward. For in the paradox of chasing satisfaction lies the seed of liberation. The moment you stop seeking it and begin seeking instead the truth of who you are, satisfaction ceases to be relevant, and in its place comes something far more precious: the simple presence of being alive, fully and authentically, exactly where you already are.